mind. We will take care of these students. We will take care of these candidates. If standing by these candidates and being vocal with them, it means politics for TMC, I will do 100 times. I will do this kind of politics.
Well, with that, it's a wrap from my side. On the other hand, Shivani gets you a special from Melbourne.
Hello and welcome everyone. You're watching our special presentation on the T20 World Cup, Kings of T20, straight from Melbourne, Australia. I'm Shivani Gupta and I'm joining you from the Melbourne Cricket Ground, and this is where India will be opening up their campaign this edition of the World Cup against arch rivals Pakistan. Over the next 1 hour, we'll get you the latest that you need to know, not just from the Indian camp, the Pakistan camp, but an overall view of the World Cup this year and its top contenders, starting, of course, with Australia, the hosts, and the defending champions. In bit from now, former India cricketers Maninder Singh and Deepdas Gupta will be joining me. They'll be giving us their expert opinion on just who looks the best bet this World Cup. But before that, let's set up the T20 World Cup 2022 for you.
The World T20 Cricket Carnival is back in less than a year, and this time it is set to be the biggest yet, with 16 teams playing 45 matches. Australia, the reigning champions, hosts and odds-on favourites to lift the trophy again. The hosts are in Group 1 and will face stiff competition from New Zealand, England and Afghanistan, who are known for punching above their weight. The Black Caps have lost just 2 T20Is this calendar year, and their recent form at home in the Tri-Series against Pakistan and Bangladesh looked solid. England have been a consistent force in white ball cricket for some years, and this tournament will mark Jos Buttler captaining his first ever ICC white ball event. Injuries have hampered England's preparations, with key talents like Johnny Bairstow and Jofra Archer both missing out on a place in the squad. Afghanistan are high on confidence after they managed to reach the Super 4 stage in the recently held Asia Cup. Talking of Group 2, the world number 1 T20I side India want to forget their group stage elimination of their last World T20 and can boast of one of the most balanced teams on paper. The injury to Jasprit Bumrah is a blow and will test the depth of the bench strength. The men in blue will face the most difficult test at the very beginning of the highly anticipated clash against Pakistan on Sunday. Pakistan comes high on confidence after winning the Tri-Nation Series, and the comeback of Shaheen Afridi will make its famed pace attack even more lethal. With Babar Azam and Rizwan at the top of the order, Pak is capable of demolishing any team on its day, but will have to fight the tag of being the most inconsistent team. South Africa, on the other hand, has had a strong bowling attack with Kagiso Rabada, Lungi Ngidi and Andrich Nokia forming an imposing seam bowling attack. Bangladesh are looking to shake their tag as underachievers. Despite the game-changing players in its ranks, the Tigers have won just 7 of their 33 matches in the World T20. The T20 World Cup will also see newly amended ICC rules coming into effect. Running out a non-striker will no longer be unfair play, while non-strikers will have to stay at the same end even if the batters have crossed on a catch. The ICC has also relaxed rules relating to COVID-19, allowing all players to take the field.
Will we see a new T20 World Cup champion, or will one of the former champions do an encore? And can the Indian team perform up to its potential? After a rather forgettable outing in the last edition, the pressure is certainly on Rohit Sharma and his men. This World Cup will provide a lot of answers for world cricket, but especially for Indian cricket. With camera person Guneet Singh Bedi in Melbourne, Shivani Gupta for CNN News 18. And joining me now are former India cricketers Maninder Singh and Deepdas Gupta. Gentlemen, a warm welcome to all of you, even though I'm joining you from Melbourne. You're joining us from various parts of India. But, we have the World Cup upon us now. We've been building up to this tournament. Maninder Paji, why don't I come to you first up for quite some time? And this is first and foremost an opportunity for India to redeem themselves, isn't it? Because the last World Cup campaign, we all remember it very painfully still. It was nothing to write home about.
See, we expect too much from the Indian team. Whenever they go to play cricket, we are always expecting them to win all the time, which is not going to happen. And T20 format, it's not really easy unless and until you get that rhythm from the first game, it becomes difficult for the teams to get settled. And T20 format is such, where just one player can take the game away from you because it's just a shorter format, and sometimes the weaker teams also get the better of you. But I'm sure, this time around the Indian team looks pretty balanced, and I'm expecting a lot from them.
Deep, why don't we have your opening comments as well? India is definitely starting as one of the favourites. But do you believe that in this World Cup, as Manipaji is saying, it's the shortest format of the game, it's a T20 World Cup, you never know what's going to happen. And there are almost 6-7 teams that will feel that they are contenders for the title.
True. I think this is going to be one of the most competitive World Cups. One, because of the format. T20 format is very fickle in many senses. That's one of the reasons it's going to be competitive. And also the fact that these conditions, we're talking about really big grounds here. We're talking about a pitch, conditions which would help the bowlers a bit more. So we're looking at 160, 170 kind of scores on an average here with pace and bounce. So obviously because of the conditions, and also the format, I think this is going to be extremely competitive. And as you rightly mentioned, there would be, good 5-6 teams, you can call them as favorites because, like I said, because of these two factors.
Why don't we begin by talking about Australia now, who are, of course, the hosts. So that is an advantage that they have, but they're also the reigning champions. Last time around, Manipaji, not many gave Australia a chance. They weren't really looking like a team that could lift the title. This was one trophy missing from their cabinet, and they showed the world why they are such a champion side, no matter what year and no matter what conditions. This time, they're actually looking as good as a team needs to be to become the first team to retain the ICC T20 World Cup trophy. And there's only one difference from their squad from last year to this year, and that brings in Tim David into the fray, who himself is a top drawer player.
I think they're a very strong team, and they're going to play in their home conditions, which is going to be a big advantage for them. They're used to the conditions there, they're used to the pitches there, and the crowd is going to back them because it's a good, strong side. Maybe Aaron Finch's last World Cup, and he would like to win, go on a winning note. But otherwise, if you see the balance of the side, I think it's a very, very balanced side. They've got match winners. Matthew Wade has been doing very, very well. He's finished the games pretty well. Aaron Finch, as I said earlier, he's going to give his more than 100%. David Warner is a batsman to look out for because once he gets into that rhythm, then he could win you matches single-handedly. So I think they've got the side, Glenn Maxwell, who's a finisher, Mitchell Marsh, he's been doing well. So I think they're a brilliant side, and playing in home conditions is going to be a big, big advantage. Even though, they won in UAE last year, as you said, nobody gave them a chance. But I think that would have given them a lot of confidence.
Deep, we're talking about Australia. I don't want to leave New Zealand behind because New Zealand again has been a story of so close and yet so far when it comes to lifting ICC trophies. Last time around also they came close, but that white ball jinx always hurts them, isn't it? This time around, do you believe they have it in them to go all the way?
Yes, definitely. New Zealand is again such a amazingly underrated side. Every time there's an ICC event, invariably you'll find them in the top 4. And unfortunately, they've always been the bridesmaid. So yeah, they've got a very good opportunity this time around as well. But having said that, there's so many of them, of those teams, and it's going to be a tough one actually to pick your top 4 as well. But having said that, New Zealand comes an ICC tournament, and there they are. Even though they might not have those huge or massive names and superstars and all, but that's one team. They do know how to play as a unit, as a team, and there's a lot of experience there as well. Experience of playing together, experience of playing T20 cricket per se. So I think all that will come together and should come together. That's what's been happening in last so many years.
Yeah, absolutely. New Zealand have a tendency to get to the knockout stages. They have a tendency recently to even be in finals, but just missing when it comes to the final hurdle. Speaking of knockout stage, the Indian team didn't make it to the semi-finals last time around, and the first improvement they need to make is, one, not lose to Pakistan this time around, Manipaji, and secondly, at least get to the knockout stages. I think anything less than that, and I don't think fans are going to be very, very happy this time around.
I know, we all expect a lot from the Indian team whenever, as I said earlier, whenever they go to play any kind of cricket, and this is special because the first edition the Indian team won, and after that they've not fared very well as you would expect them to. But I think we've got a few match winners in this side. If you see KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, even though he's not been in very good form, but once he gets going, then he's a match winner for you. Virat Kohli has been doing well. I mean, KL Rahul has got some runs. Surya Kumar Yadav is in tremendous form. And I would somewhere down the line have Rishabh Pant in my side because he's a match winner. He could, change the game around on his own. And I think, as Deepdas Gupta said earlier, the grounds are bigger, the bowlers have an advantage, especially the spinners. So if you see the balance of the Indian bowling side, I think it looks a balanced side as well. So overall on papers, I think this is a very good Indian side, but it's just that you have to have the initial success. If you're successful in your first game, then you carry that confidence ahead.
I'm going to talk to you about the bowling lineup that you would ideally want to see, because that's where we have, although Rohit Sharma is very clear of the bowling lineup that he wants, but I want to begin by asking you about Rishabh Pant, because, there are enough people who feel that Rishabh Pant walks into this playing 11 and he deserves to be in this playing 11, but the trend that the Indian team is following, and I think we know the mind of the team management. They are preferring Dinesh Karthik over Rishabh Pant, and it is very likely, as I watched the Indian practice session today, that Dinesh Karthik is going to walk out in the playing 11. That doesn't leave space for Rishabh Pant. What do you make of the team management's decision then to prefer Dinesh Karthik as the finisher over Rishabh Pant?
Well, personally, ideally speaking, I would have wanted both of them to play. But as you mentioned, the batting unit looks kind of settled. And what we've seen in the last 6 months, that DK has been given a very specific role. And he's been doing a pretty good job of that, to be fair. So unfortunately, as good as Rishabh is, and as Mani Bhaiya mentioned, he is a match winner. There's absolutely no two ways about it. But unfortunately, he would have to miss out because there is no place for both of them. And DK, because how team management's been thinking, and what happens is it's kind of a puzzle. So as of now, all those pieces of that puzzle are put in a certain way, and you take that out, then you need to reshuffle everyone. So as of now, I don't see Rishabh playing in the playing 11. It's going to be DK. And I hope they don't need to, because if they need to change that playing 11, obviously then things aren't going right, and obviously we don't want that to happen.
Working. Maninder Paji, what do you think? You saying you prefer Rishabh over DK, but the team doesn't feel so.
Any day. I would have, if Rishabh Pant is in my 15, he will be in my first 11 because he's a match winner. He can, as I said earlier, he can turn the game around on his own the way he bats. It's the only problem with him is that he needs to be handled well, because with Rahul Dravid there, I'm sure he can be handled well, and he would win you matches. I mean, if you're asking me between Rishabh Pant and Dinesh Karthik, I really don't know where has he got this title of match finisher. I'm talking about Dinesh Karthik now, because match finisher was Mahendra Singh Dhoni. He would finish 8 out of 10 matches whenever he got an opportunity, whereas Dinesh Karthik has probably finished 1 or 2 games out of 10 when he's got an opportunity. So I would honestly go with Rishabh Pant, give him a long rope and give him the confidence. And with the Rahul Dravid there, a little bit of talking with him, a little bit of chatting with him, you could see a different Rishabh Pant, that aggression that he's got, that controlled aggression could be brought in with Rahul Dravid there.
Can I quickly add to that?
Mani Paji, I asked this question to literally everybody, Pant or DK, and the opinion is divided. But like I said, I know what the team is thinking. I'm with you actually. I'm one of those people who can't figure out how a Rishabh Pant doesn't walk into a playing 11 if he's available, but such is the circumstances. But I won't dwell into that too much. We have lots of time to talk about that as the Sunday match comes in and of course as the India campaign goes on. But I want to ask you, Maninder Paji, about your bowling lineup as well. Now here is where there could be many permutations and combinations. I'm guessing you would feel Akshar Patel is very much there in the bowling lineup. Other than him, we've seen India preferring Harshal Patel, Chahal, and then there's Bhuvi and there's Arshdeep. Do you think these five plus a Hardik Pandya is the perfect bowling lineup for us, or would you change it?
I would have Mohammad Shami there because, sometimes what happens when you're coming out of an illness or an injury, then you stick to your basics. And the last warm-up game that he got an opportunity to play, he just got 1 over to bowl, he gave 4 runs, got 3 wickets. So we can use his experience, because he's such a rhythmic bowler. And on the kind of pitches that we are going to play on, he's going to get some help. So Shami will be there for me for sure. Arshdeep, because he brings in that variation with the left arm seamer. And he's been doing well, whatever opportunities he's got, he's really done well. So I would really like to have him in the side. Bhuvneshwar you would like to have because of his experience, even though, not give him the 19th over like we've been doing, because I don't think he has that confidence. But he's still a very good bowler, and these conditions he'll be very good. And Chahal and Ravichandran Ashwin for me, because these are bigger grounds, and Ravichandran's Ashwin's experience you would like to use when you've got him in the side. So these would be my 5 bowlers, with Hardik Pandya coming in and chipping in with a couple of overs, and maybe if he's fit enough and bowling well, maybe have all the 4 from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Deep, what do you think about that? The bowling lineup?
For me, it's kind of straightforward. Shami for sure, yes. Along with him, Bhuvneshwar. Then Hardik, obviously, I'm going to leave him aside. He definitely is there as a 6th bowling option and could well be one of the main bowlers as well. And as a 3rd seamer, I would be looking at Arshdeep as of now. Obviously, that was the only kind of a question mark whether it's going to be Harshal or Arshdeep. And with Shami bowling as well as he is in the death, then Harshal is predominantly your death over specialist or your last over specialist. But if Shami can give you an over or 2 in the death, which he will, then you rather go with someone like Arshdeep, who is a lot more versatile, and also the fact that he's a left-arm seamer. So Arshdeep, Shami and Bhuvi, 3 seamers along with Hardik. And as far as spin is concerned, Akshar, obviously with his left-arm spin. Also the fact that in the top 7, he'd be the only left-hand batter if Rishabh is not playing. So, off late, he's been batting well as well. If there is an opportunity, for example, if Mohammad Nawaz is bowling well in the middle overs, you might want to promote your left-hander batter to kind of play against the left-arm spinners. Akshar there, and Yuzi Chahal, wrist spinner. I think, personally speaking, on those Australian pitches and those conditions, I think if you have a wrist spinner, you've got to play him.
Right. So both our experts have very different views on exactly what our batting lineup, our bowling lineup should be. We'll, of course, continue to talk to them in the run-up to the India-Pakistan match and, of course, the entire World Cup. But let me just talk about the overall, general place that the Indian team is in right now. With Rohit Sharma as the captain, Dravid in the dressing room, Maninder Paji, do you believe this side has shown enough improvement from what it was just 12 months ago in the last edition of the World Cup? Are we better off than then and therefore can perform better? Because there will be a lot of pressure on the Indian team. Last time around, not only did they lose to Pakistan for their first ever World Cup defeat, it was a poor World Cup campaign overall.
I have a lot of confidence in this team, especially with Hardik Pandya, a fit Hardik Pandya who can give you the 4 overs. And the way he's batting is amazing. I think the way he batted in IPL has given him a lot of confidence. And he brings balance to the side. And just one player who could give you those 4 overs and come and hit the ball the way he's been middling the ball, I think it changes the whole balance of the side. And I think this Indian side looks very balanced to me.
All right, let me talk about Pakistan now, because Pakistan is one of those teams that will also believe that they have a very good chance, especially with the kind of explosive talent they always have deep in their team. And Shaheen Afridi is back. Let me just point out to our viewers before I go to you, Deep, that today was an optional practice session for the Indian team. You had Rohit Sharma come out, actually took turns batting in the nets twice today. You had DK with all of his variations, his scoop shots, his touches, his slices, etc. He was trying all of his variations, what we've come to see from DK as in the last few, overs of the Indian batting innings. And it was quite clear that he's going to bring all of that, and he's really gunning up for that. You had KL Rahul taking the batting nets today, and he is looking in very good touch in the run-up to the World Cup as well. And then we had the likes of Arshdeep, Siraj. Remember, Siraj is here with the team. And several other bowlers doing their thing. So it was quite interesting to see, especially the work that both DK and Rohit Sharma were putting in their practice. And both of them, because it looks like DK is going to be first choice over Pant, are going to be very crucial for the Indian team. Surya Kumar Yadav was also here, and of course he's looking in excellent touch, as Manipaji said. Against them in the first match is Pakistan. Let's talk about Pakistan now, Deep. Shaheen Afridi was back. We all watched him in the practice session today that the Pakistani team had. And he's their superstar, isn't it? He will be gunning to go. And I think the Pakistan team already looks so much better with Shaheen Afridi back in the team, isn't it?
That is so true. And the last practice game, which was washed out, it was between Afghanistan and Pakistan. So saw Shaheen Afridi not just bowling, but getting the ball to swing back into the right-hander. So listen, just to kind of go back to your last question to Manivya about India's preparation, I think as compared to last year, India is in a better position, better prepared. Last year, if you remember, the Indian team went into the World Cup straight after the IPL. They weren't, they did not kind of prepare as a team that much. But this time around, obviously, they've been to Australia. They've been there for last, 2 weeks at least, or maybe more than 2 weeks. They've been playing a lot of cricket together as a team. So I think that they are well prepared. They've got a lot of experience as well in that side of playing, not just in Australia, but also playing in the World Cup. And the fact that, India has found a lot of success in last few years in Australia. So that would add to the confidence as well. Talking about Pakistan, listen, they are definitely one of the favorites. For me, any good bowling side will always be favorites to win a tournament. And especially when you talk about Australian conditions, if you have a bowling pack, which Pakistan has, listen, they kind of have most of those box ticked as far as bowling is concerned. They've got a very, very good left-arm spinner, very good wrist spinner, and 4 bowlers at least who can clock around 145 plus and closer to 150. And that is quite a handful, let me tell you that. And that's one of the reasons, and maybe the main reason, why I'd say Pakistan would be one of the favorites to win this World Cup.
Well, you're talking about their bowling. Manipaji, their batting is not bad either, isn't it? They've got some of the top batsmen in the format, and all of them looking in great touch. The only problem, in fact, for them is that they depend a little bit too much on their top 3 in their batting lineup.
Well, that's what happened with India for a long time. They were depending on the top 3 and they were doing very well, especially in 20 overs cricket or one-day internationals, white ball cricket. If your top 3 are doing well, then you've done half the job, because I've always believed, that in your top 3, if you have one big partnership in white ball cricket, you've done the job. So I think Pakistanis will depend a lot on their captain Babar Azam, the way he's been batting and handling the team, and stays calm, which is very important, because for a captain to stay calm is very, very important, and get the team to work around him is also very important. So top 3, if they do the job in 20 overs format, I think it's good enough for the team.
Yeah, you're right, because the way Rizwan bats, if he stays along, then it's chances that he would take the match away from the other team anyway. So you need to get the wickets at the top order for Pakistan, and you need to ensure that you don't give your top order wickets. In fact, I remember seeing Pakistani batsmen today batting deep with the tile in the middle of the pitch. I think they were preparing for some of the bounces that surprised them from Hardik Pandya last time around India and Pakistan played in the Asia Cup. A word on that. Do you think the Indian bowling lineup can upset the Pakistani top order?
Oh yeah, definitely yes. I mean, listen, there's no two ways about it, especially with Shami being around, and Shami has this ability to, bowl these unplayable deliveries, no matter how good the opposition are or what kind of form they are in. Mohammad Shami, I mean, he's very very special, and we've seen that over years now. So yes, we have that ability. Not just Mohammad Shami, even Bhuvi, if he gets the ball to move around a bit, Arshdeep. He's in good nick. Hardik he's a very, very sharp thinker of the game as well. And let's not forget, the short pitch would be very important because of the ground dimension. Obviously, size of the boundaries, the pitch itself, and Hardik bowls a very, very mean bouncer. Let's not forget, Shami's bouncer is so underrated. He's got this skiddy bouncer, which does not bounce as much, but skids through. And I mean, listen, let's not underestimate our bowling. I know our bowling hasn't done that well, but I have a very strong feeling this bowling unit, even though we are missing Jasprit Bumrah, which is a huge miss, undoubtedly, but I still think we've got enough firepower to, get the best batters in the world out.
All right. I'll talk about a couple of other teams that could be contenders for this World Cup because, we could talk all day about the India-Pakistan match coming up and we have a couple of days left still to do that. So do join us tomorrow as well as Baninder Paji, Deep and I. We all build up specifically to the India-Pakistan blockbuster clash on Sunday. And speaking of that clash, before I move on to some of the other teams, let me reassure our fans that yes, there's a forecast of rain. Right now, it is slightly overcast, but through the day, yesterday and today, the sun was shining in Melbourne. There is a 99% chance of rain on Saturday, and there's an over 85% chance of rain still on Sunday. But it is a 3.5-hour match. We're hoping the rain precedes the match, and then, of course, the ground facilities will be up and ready to go by the time it is match time. But the forecast is indeed for rain or showers in the evening. So we all have our fingers crossed. But we do feel confident enough that the match is not going to be washed. Maybe it could be a truncated match if it is indeed, raining quite a bit on Sunday. But fingers crossed that it won't rain on Sunday and certainly not a lot during match time. Let me take final comments from our guests for this evening on a couple of other teams. Maninder Paji, what do you make of England? Do you believe England in the run-up has looked good enough to win an ICC World Cup trophy?
They are my favourites actually to win this T20 World Cup because they've got such a balanced side, so many all-rounders in the side, in Ben Stokes, Livingstone, Jordan can hit the ball big time, Sam Curran, Moeen Ali. So I think they're a good balanced side who are going to be my favourites for this T20 World Cup.
You don't feel like their bowling could be a little bit iffy?
See, it's again comes to how you catch a rhythm, how you get into the games, and I think they have enough firepower as far as the bowling is concerned as well. They've got enough variations in their bowling lineup, and I'm sure they would be pretty confident because if you want two spinners, Adil Rashid, the leg spinner, has done well, with white ball. Moeen Ali, he's a handful of a bowler and a batsman, and they've got good fast bowlers, who know how to bowl in T20 cricket. So overall, if you see their batting lineup, brilliant. If you see their bowling lineup, brilliant, and they've been fielding well, and they've been winning under Josh Butler. So I think that makes a lot of difference as well.
All right. Let me also talk about South Africa. Now, South Africa is indeed in India's group. Now, we saw what happened to South Africa last time around Deep Das Gupta. They won 4 out of their 5 matches and yet couldn't make it to the knockouts. That just gives you an indication of, even winning 4 out of 5 matches in your group sometimes cannot be enough. And this time around, you've got India, Pakistan, South Africa in this group. There's Bangladesh and, of course, Netherlands who have qualified. So this is also a pretty difficult group, isn't it? What do you make of South Africa's chances? And especially, do you believe that India is better than South Africa at this stage, because we're going to be clashing up,
Yeah.
in a couple of matches after the Pakistan one.
True. I mean, for me, I'll be honest. I mean, I do feel India is better than South Africa. For me, I think the two teams which should qualify out of this group is India and Pakistan. But South Africa are my dark horses to qualify because they are, again, have a very good bowling unit, a lot of variety in there in terms of spin, in terms of fast bowling. There is pace, there is height in bowlers because height will matter. Height of the quick bowlers will matter in Australia. There is anyways more bounce, but anyone who's tall would get an extra bit of bounce as well. So I think they've got a really good bowling side, and well, the batting as well. I mean, they're very decent. In fact, their middle order is solid. I mean, someone like Klaasen or a Markram, they've been absolutely fabulous. Reza Hendricks and all. I think the weakest link in there, unfortunately, and with all due respect, is Temba Bavuma. I mean, obviously he's the captain, so he's
Yes.
going to play. But apart from that, that looks like a really good side. And like I said, the third team, as far as this particular group is concerned, after India and Pakistan, is going to be South Africa, and they're my dark horses.
Well, that is why both India and Pakistan will be very clear in their heads, because there's a South Africa in this group, that they have to win their first match, isn't it, Manipaji? Because the first match is very crucial. And we've seen it happen. You know, your first few games don't go well, or your first match doesn't go well. When it's such a blockbuster clash like an India-Pakistan one, it can derail your entire campaign. Although Australia, which is the reigning champion, didn't start last World Cup in a winning fashion, but they went on to win the cup. You have to peak at the right time too. But for India, in this group, Manipaji, it's going to be very essential to not lose this time around to Pakistan. Not just because of the extra factor associated with the match against the arch rivals, but because it could completely derail your campaign as well. This group has tough sides.
It's very important to win your first game, because if you lose your first game, then you're doing the catching up all the time, and it's not very easy because another bad day and you're out of the tournament. So I think winning the first game is very important. What happened with Australia the last time around when they lost the first game, they became a unit. Sometimes it can help losing, if you lose your first game, but starting the campaign on a winning note can give you that confidence going ahead.
Let me also take a final comment about Rohit Sharma, the Indian captain. Deep, what do you make of Rohit Sharma and his captaincy? We've seen enough of it now. Going into an ICC World Cup event is always very, it's a pressure situation, especially for an Indian captain. As Manipaji was saying, we expect Indian team to do well all the time. What have you made of his captaincy? Of course, we've seen enough of it as Mumbai Indians captain. He's been very successful. But as the Indian team captain, the way he's handled the team, the way he's handled himself, are there any chinks in his armor or any grey areas right now? How would you rate it?
I think he's an extremely good captain. I mean, like you've rightly mentioned, we've seen enough of Rohit Sharma, the captain, over the years, whether it's for Mumbai Indians or even for India for that matter. Obviously, last 1 year or even before that, every time he's captained India, he's done a fabulous job. And he's got a good side. And this is a side that he's been working on for last 1 year. This is the style of cricket that the team's been working on for last 1 year. And what I also really like about Rohit Sharma's captaincy in last 1 year and how the team has kind of approached T20 cricket, because yes, getting those big runs are important, but we've started talking about impact more than just sheer numbers here. Impact of a score. And you see that in this team. You see the change in approach. Yes, just straight after the World Cup, there was this a little bit of time where it was, they wanted to play with a different approach and they wanted to be very aggressive, at times maybe over-aggressive. But I think they've been able to fine-tune that approach in the last few months. And I think he's done a fabulous job, obviously, along with Rahul Dravid and his team of support staff, to kind of be in a really good place. And I think winning or playing well, not just winning, just playing well in those warm-up games, or the only official warm-up game that India played, I think that would also add to that confidence. And also the fact that you've been winning a lot of these T20 bilateral series would add and give you confidence that your approach or the kind of mindset or kind of cricket or brand of cricket that you want to play has been successful. So India would be going in there with a lot of confidence and obviously a lot of quality as well.
You know, it just strikes me just now that we haven't really even spoken about Virat Kohli too much. Just a year ago, it was all about Virat Kohli as the Indian captain in all formats. And of course, one of the best batsmen, the greatest batsman, one of the greatest batsmen of all time. It just shows you how much has changed in Indian cricket in the last 12 months. But that doesn't mean Virat Kohli isn't important for us. He's going to be extremely important for us against Pakistan, especially because the man has a knack of scoring against Pakistan. He always does well. Even in the last match, in the last T20 match, he was the one who was standing almost alone, even as wickets fell around him. Maybe the strike rate wasn't there, but it was a tough match for all Indian batsmen. We will, of course, talk about more in detail about the Indian team, the Pakistani team tomorrow with our experts. But as I wrap up today's edition, I want to fire a few quick fire questions for our experts. So Manipaji, first to you. We've talked about some of the favourites for this event. I haven't talked about everyone, so I'll give you an opportunity to tell me your top 3 sides in that order for this World Cup.
England, as I said, my favourites. Australia at number 2 and India at number 3.
All right, I think I get that. Deep, what about you? Who are your top 3 sides?
Okay, I'm going to go with India, England, and Pakistan.
India, England and Pakistan. All right. So we've got, of course, an exciting month of, T20 cricket coming up. Continue to be on CNN News 18 as we get you Kings of T20 from Australia. Of course, the build-up of the mother of all clashes, India versus Pakistan, right here from Melbourne with me. I thank both of our experts for joining us. Maninder Paji and Deepdas Gupta will be with us throughout the World Cup, giving us their insights. What an exciting tournament lined up ahead. And as our experts are saying, really the trophy could be anybody's. We would like it to be for India. We would like the cup to come home. But let's see how things go. I also caught up with a few American fans who've travelled all the way from USA to Melbourne, Australia, ahead of that blockbuster India-Pakistan clash. I leave you with some Indian and Pakistani fans on what they think could happen on Sunday. Of the mother of all clashes, India versus Pakistan, I'm joined by a very unique group of Indian and Pakistani fans who've come all the way from Texas in USA. Let's talk to these gentlemen who are here. You can clearly see that a lot of them are the India fans. Can I have a cheer from you? So all of these with the Indian jersey are all Indian fans?
Yeah, we are India and Pakistan together. We have our friends here from Pakistan also, but they are supporting both the teams. They are our best friends who are supporting India and Pakistan both.
You're from Pakistan?
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm
Okay.
an India fan.
You're an India fan and you're from Pakistan originally?
Yes.
Okay. So you've all come from
Dallas,
US,
Dallas, and Georgia.
Georgia.
All right. So what are your big hopes? You're from Melbourne. So what are your big hopes from this big match?
I think the hope is to see a good, electrifying match.
Yeah.
It's been 12 years in Melbourne. I haven't seen Pakistan-India clash, so it will be exciting.
Yeah. But last time it was advantage Pakistan.
This time, the only thing that I am hoping for that we don't beat them with 10 wickets.
No, we just love Virat Kohli, that's all. I'm here to see Virat Kohli.
I'm really hoping for this match to go really good, and I hope India this time make to the final and win the World Cup.
So India needs some revenge, right, guys, for last time around?
See, whatever happens on Sunday, right? Sunday match, we just want a good match. Whoever wins, we don't care. We just want a good match.
India to win.
Do you think India has some issues ahead of that big match? Because, given last time what happened in the World Cup, the Asia Cup and all of that.
I don't think there's any issues. It's just that we're going again for it and may the best team win.
You're a Pakistan fan.
I'm a Pakistani fan. Bleed
right.
green.
Don't you think you guys are a little too dependent on your top 3 and the rest can be a problem?
That we are, but you know the 2 good players can take care of the whole team. So we are not upset. We are happy and we are very excited. if Babar and Rizwan stays, like my brother over said, it's a 10-wicket game.
10-wicket game. So what does India need to do?
I can bet my life this is not going to be a 10-wicket win. Yeah, I can bet.
Watch it, Rohit. Watch first ball, you're out. with the middle order class, with the middle order getting destroyed.
We have a strongest batting lineup than anyone else.
So let's just have a final cheer from both us, Pakistan and India fans. They've been real sports over the last few years. Let's just see what this match has to produce. But can I have some cheers from you?
But at the end, we're all hoping for a good cricket game.
Now, Uttarakhand retired General Gurmeet Singh also on your screens. All of these dignitaries also accompanying the Prime Minister as he waves to that huge crowd that have gathered to catch a glimpse of the Prime Minister. What really is expected right through the day? We've already seen the darshan and the puja at the Badrinath temple. Shortly, we're also expecting the inspection of development works at Riverfront and Saket Chowk. Then they'll be laying a foundation stone of road and ropeway projects. Later in the day, you'll also have inspection of development works at Arrival Plaza and Lakes. And in the evening, somewhere around 5 o'clock is what we're understanding, you'll have the Badrinath thematic presentation as well. That is what the itinerary for the Prime Minister will look like. As I pointed out, this is a very crucial visit by the Prime Minister coming just days before the festival of Deepavali. But this is something that we've seen with the Prime Minister in the past as well, of how he's been reviving the Indian temples. You had the Mahakal Lok Corridor at Mahakaleshwar Temple in Ujjain. You had ₹30 crore circuit house near Somnath Temple for pilgrims. The Sheela Temple in existing Tukaram Temple in Pune. Dihu as well. Kalika Mata Temple atop the Pavagad Hill in Gujarat. You've seen all of these initiatives by the Prime Minister. But today, as I pointed out, this visit to Uttarakhand has a lot of significance. Varun, good to have you on the broadcast with us. Before we talk to you about the political significance of this visit and what this means for the people of Uttarakhand, how do you see this visit of the Prime Minister? He's had back-to-back visits already in Gujarat, now in Uttarakhand, and also the timing of this visit coming just 2 days before Diwali.
You know, after 2 days, he will be in Ayodhya for the Deepatsot. So that is what is confirmed. So, happy to see a Prime Minister who doesn't shy away from saying or carrying his religion on his shoulder. There is no constitutional bar on the Prime Minister on carrying or following all these things. And one more important thing, what happens when a Prime Minister visits a state, at least when he visits any state, the road over there, the basic development connectivity improves. And he over here is not only on a visit for, paying his obeisances to the deities over there in the temple. He's also there to inaugurate projects that will be connecting these temples. Even over here, when you go to Varanasi, where the corridor for, Vishwanath corridor has been developed, earlier, what we used to see, the small gullies, narrow gullies, that they have been transformed into huge roads. And that is what development means, where it is a common basic thing. When road reaches a village, development reaches that village. And that is the basic thing that he is trying to do. These places have been ignored. These religious places which have been paying so much of money to the government, they have been ignored. Finally, a government has woken up that we have been taking money from the temple. High time we give something back to the temple as well as to the devotees. And it matters a lot when you see it electorally also. Because Hindus have always been, most of the times they have been felt or have been feeling that their religious aspects have been ignored. There have been a lot of outcry that the government always takes money from the temples but doesn't give back. Here is something that they are getting back from the government.
Right. And I also, before, as you rightly pointed out, before we talk to you about the political significance of what this means for Uttarakhand and the mega infrastructure push that we're seeing, the development push that we're seeing, look at this kind of attention to detail and how he wants to, value the sentiment of various people. Look at the attire that he is wearing. This is a handmade dress by the Chamba women of Himachal Pradesh. In his last visit, he had promised these women that I will wear it, and he's kept up that promise. This is something that has a lot of connection with people on the ground.
Absolutely. Small things like this, which bigger politicians or, people like us, who are too busy in our daily life, we ignore. But Prime Minister or people whom we call as a person who has attained a stature, they know that these small gestures mean a lot. Today, those women whom he had promised, and it looks so beautiful. It is also not just an attire that he's wearing, he's promoting it. Look at it in a different way also. Now many people who go there would want to have those kind of dresses. It will improve, it will bring in more money for those women who have been making these kind of dresses, which was sort of like had been on the back burner. Probably it might be in the front rows of stores over there, and people would love to have them. It will also bring in more money, more employment, and more opportunities for those women who have been weaving these kind of dresses. Even in the past, wherever he goes, he tries to do the things that local. In the last few years, the government, especially the BJP state governments, have come